What is up? Welcome back. If you're curious about the fitness trend created by Lauren Giraldo, 12-3-30, especially in the context of using it for weight loss, then definitely keep on watching. Now, you guys probably already know enough about Lauren and about 12-3-30, but briefly, it's a treadmill style workout. The 12 stands for the incline, the 3 stands for how fast you're walking, as in 3 miles per hour, and 30 is the amount of time that you are doing this. And wow, it got so big that she actually trademarked 12-3-30. And it's been on my list to talk about for a while, but in a recent video, somebody requested it. I was like, okay, I gotta do it. Today's the day. I'm just gonna say right off the bat that I actually love this fitness trend. I think it's my favorite. And part of the reason is because it's not as gimmicky as a lot of other fitness trends, like hula hoops with weights on them, or like really over glorified and like specific dance moves, or even Pilates. I like this better than Pilates. But just because I like it doesn't mean there's not things that we need to talk about, because either other people are not talking about them or they're just simply getting it wrong in relation to this trend. Firstly, I think depending on who you are and specific things about yourself, you should probably modify this and just use the same principle of a specific incline, a specific speed for a specific amount of time, but customize it to you. And the first thing that I would want you to pay attention to is your height or your leg length. We all know this. We all have like a shorter friend, or we are the shorter friend who is unable to keep up with everybody else's walking speed because their legs are shorter. So if everyone who's heard about this trend immediately tries 3 miles per hour as their speed, it's gonna feel a lot more challenging for some people than it is for others. I don't know how tall Lauren is. Let me Google it. According to Google, she's 5'1", so actually she's on the shorter side. So us tallies, I'm 5'6", anybody who is a bit taller, in order to get the same level intensity that she gets using a 3 speed on the treadmill, you're gonna have to increase your speed a little bit. That is, if you wanna get the same exact effect that Lauren gets from her workout. And that brings me to my next point, in that it might be surprisingly challenging depending on your fitness level as well as things like your height. Lauren said in a video when she was talking about this workout that she started off really struggling with these parameters related to how fast she was walking, what the incline was, and the duration. She said when she would first get on the treadmill doing this, she would sometimes get tired within the first 2 minutes. And she had to kind of build up to being able to do 12-3-30. So whether you need to permanently modify the speed because of your height, or you're just not there yet to be able to accomplish this workout in 30 minutes right from the beginning, that's okay. Don't be afraid to change the parameters. And also the parameters that you may be considering changing will depend on what your ultimate goal is. If your ultimate goal is to increase your cardiovascular endurance, then it's a good idea to really challenge yourself. If your goal is to just get movement in, and all you want to be able to do is accomplish a full 30 minutes without having to take a break, maybe lower the parameters a little bit, lower the incline, lower the speed. If your goal is to burn as many calories as possible, then again, just like the cardiovascular endurance, it might be a good idea to really push yourself. And even pushing yourself may not be doing 12-3-30 right off the bat. You can gradually increase to get there. But that brings me to my next point, which is depending on what your goal is, it's gonna make a huge difference whether or not you are holding on to the treadmill. Now, I'll use an example. When I was doing my very first bodybuilding competition, I was in college, I worked at the gym that I trained at, and there were a bunch of other people in that gym who were also training for the exact same competition I was doing. And so I got to see what everybody else would do. And at that time, maybe it's still true, I've been out of the bodybuilding game for a while, but everyone would finish their intense weight training workout with steady state cardio on a treadmill at a very high incline. But what everybody was doing was holding on to the treadmill, so much so that they were totally taking load off of their body and making it easier for them. And you have to question, if it's so challenging that you're having to hold on and relieve some of that intensity, why not just do a lower intensity and not have to hold on? And Lauren actually addresses holding on to the treadmill in her video where she talks about this. And she said that she does allow herself to hold on to the treadmill a little bit, but she aims for only 30% touching the treadmill and 70% just her on her own, which I think is a totally fine strategy. Again, if you're trying to get like the most out of it and challenge yourself the most, it'll be a good idea not to hold on at all. But just like all the other stuff I've mentioned about shifting the parameters around to fit you and whatever your needs are, I don't think you have to go into this wanting to absolutely wreck yourself as hard as possible. You just have to know that if you are going to hold on to the treadmill, it is going to decrease the challenge on your cardiovascular system and probably decrease how many calories you're burning. And the amount of calories you burn will be very different from what the treadmill is saying if you're holding onto the treadmill quite a bit, but also I would just never trust what the treadmill is calculating you're burning for calories anyway. I address it in this like fitness tracker video. It's true for treadmills and cardio equipment that calculate your calories too. And the one thing that I see people really not addressing with this fitness trend, which also tends to not be addressed with all the other fitness trends that I mentioned before, and that the exercise itself is not magic. And that's usually why things become trendy, is because they think it's something special. It's gonna get you this result that nothing else can get you, when in actuality, the magic is not in the exercise itself, it's in the consistency. And what I mean by that is if you are the type of person who has access to a treadmill to be able to do this workout, if you enjoy walking workouts, or you enjoy it just barely enough to make it tolerable enough to do it consistently, you will be somebody who could get great results from this fitness trend. But if you absolutely despise this type of workout, it's not worth punishing yourself and forcing yourself to do something that you don't want to do just because it appears that there's something special about this fitness trend. I would super encourage you to pick something else. And because this fitness trend is not magic in the same way that none of these other ones are magic, I want to talk about what results you can realistically expect if you are consistent with these workouts, because just like all other fitness trends, a lot of times you'll see these blow up and then you see people posting all over social media talking about the amazing, incredible results they got from this workout routine, whatever it is they're doing. And that just further reinforces this supposed magic that's happening with this exercise strategy, when in actuality, there's so many other factors to consider. So let's just talk about that really quick. You can definitely expect general fat loss from this workout routine and doing it consistently if it allows you to get into a calorie deficit. So a calorie deficit is required for weight loss. I talk all about a calorie deficit in this video right here, but working out doesn't always create a calorie deficit, no matter what the workout is. I've talked about how our body is actually going to compensate for exercise by burning fewer calories throughout the day. And so diet is a huge piece of the puzzle that needs to be considered. Now, if you don't change your diet whatsoever, and you add exercise on top of it, it's likely that you'll experience some weight loss. The rate at which you lose weight or how much weight you're able to lose will depend on how big that calorie deficit is because of the exercise. However, if you start eating more because you're exercising more, which means you're a little bit more hungry, you may not see any weight loss at all. Will you still see other benefits from working out? Yes, there's tons of other benefits besides just weight loss when it comes to exercise. But if you're somebody who tries fitness trends and does not get results, that's probably the piece of the puzzle that's missing. I've also seen, just like other fitness trends, claims about things like toning when it comes to this workout. So earlier I mentioned general fat loss because spot reduction doesn't exist outside of a medical office or surgical office. Meaning, just because you're doing all of the work with your legs does not mean your legs will slim down more than any other area of your body unless you are genetically predisposed to be losing fat from your legs to begin with. In which case you could do any kind of exercise and you would still lose that fat from your legs. But what I will say though, in regard to toning, which usually involves some degree of fat loss and some degree of muscle gain, is you definitely could, to some degree, increase muscle mass or strength from doing this workout. And while I wouldn't ever classify this workout as strength training or resistance training, because there's definitely going to be a cap, like a ceiling that you hit at some point, if you're a completely beginner and you do not have a lot of muscle or strength in your legs, because of the inclined nature of this exercise, you could see an increase in muscle size and strength in your legs. And that could end up resulting in the area appearing more toned. So even if you don't lose weight, if you gain some muscle in that area, yes, the overall size will increase, but it may appear a little bit more firm. And also, because of the inclined nature of this exercise, you may also notice an improvement in core strength, which again will not result in a reduction of fat from your core area. But if your core muscles are a little bit stronger, you may just appear like you may be able to sit upright a little bit more. Your core may naturally just engage more often, which may improve slightly the appearance of the core area. It all really depends on your fitness level or your strength level prior to starting this exercise strategy. And the one that really nobody can even argue with is that this will, without a doubt, unless you hop on the treadmill and it's already easy for you, it will improve your cardiovascular endurance, which has tons of health benefits. And if that's your goal, could be very helpful. I've always thought that walking in any capacity was completely underrated as an exercise strategy. People tend to discount it because they think that walking isn't actually going to make that much of a difference. But whether it's a normal walk outside or a more intense walking workout on a treadmill, I think walking is a fantastic strategy. But again, you cannot think that there is some magic in here that's going to get you results all of a sudden when other types of exercise hasn't in the past, unless this is an exercise strategy that you think you would like better than anything you've tried in the past. So if you're struggling at all with trying to figure out what exercise is best for you based on your goals with weight loss, you should definitely check out this video right here where I talk about 3 different styles of physical activity that should be included in your weight loss strategy and the different types of exercise that fit into each of those categories so you can choose the ones that best suit you. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you've tried 12-3-30 and liked it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.